Hey guys, it's Chris. From diving into caves to being a guide on Mount Everest, here are 8 difficult jobs that pay really big bucks. Number 8. Cave diver. When it comes to exploring the world, there are many challenges. Big bugs, dense jungles, wild animals. But for a cave diver, that difficulty goes to the next level. This is an extreme job that people don't always understand. The obvious assumption to this job is that you just dive into caves, right? But that's not it. That's called spelunking. Cave diving as a profession has you going into the waters of the world and searching for openings to caves and other crevices to see what can be found. The main goal is to search for new life and learn how various life forms survive in these environments. An invigorating experience to be sure when you do find something memorable. So why is the job difficult? Well, first and foremost, diving is dangerous. Even professionals have to be careful when diving into the ocean's depths. You can rupture a tank, get your oxygen line severed, dive too deep and succumb to pressure. Oh, and there's also sea creatures that will happily attack you if provoked, or if not provoked. Sea life and cave life is a bit unpredictable at times. There's also the question of visibility. You'll be diving into areas where there is no sunlight. Another huge part of this job is search and rescue. You probably remember that from the cave rescue in Thailand. However, if you are up to the task and want to observe life under the sea, cave divers make $60,000 a year roughly. Plus, the experience itself is darn near priceless. Number 7. Airline Pilot. You might look at the role of an airline pilot and think, well, that's not too difficult, they're just steering a plane from one place to another. But that's not true in the slightest. The training that a person has to go to in order to become a pilot is rather significant. There's a reason you have to have a license in order to fly. And as an episode of Mythbusters once proved, you can't just walk into a cockpit and fly a plane. You'll be overwhelmed by all the information and buttons that are there. But aside from training and having to remember it all in a flight, the real difficulty in flying a plane is the stress. You're in charge of taking potentially hundreds of people to a destination, and as history has shown, even going in a straight line can have problems. There are storms, heavy winds, birds that can get caught in the engine or propeller, and more. If something goes wrong, you have to react super quickly in order to keep everyone alive. Now, should you be calm under pressure, though, the pay of a pilot is really good. You can make between $125,000 and $135,000 a year. Number 6. Registered nurse. You might have expected a doctor or surgeon to be on this list, and to their credit, that's a difficult job as well. But when we're talking about hospital jobs, few are as difficult or stressful as registered nurse. Because while a doctor or surgeon does a lot of work, nurses do even more. They're the ones who check on you before the doctor even enters the room, or before the surgeon begins to operate on you. Plus, because they're the first responder to many situations, they're the ones who endure a lot of injuries. In 2011, over 22,000 injuries or illnesses were documented happening to nurses because they came in contact with various patients. To be clear, you'll need a degree in nursing before taking the job, but once you do, you'll have the potential to make $90,000 a year, and more once you get some experience. But make sure you count on not getting any sleep for a few years. Number 5. Coal miner. It's one of the most infamous jobs in the world, but one that is needed to keep it running. Until clean energy is everywhere at least, is that of a coal miner. We've all heard the stories about how dangerous it is down there in the mines of the world, where cave-ins, rock slides, black lung, and more can take you down. But to be quite honest, being a coal miner is a very physical job. And it's not for those who are just seeking a payday. The hours can be long, and if you're working for the wrong company, it can be quite brutal at times. Deaths are likely, and injuries even more so. But if you can make it through each day, the annual salary of a miner is between $70,000 and $90,000 a year. Number 4. The NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, MLS, and more are the outlets for millions upon billions of people who want to watch professional sports. We marvel at them, at their athletic ability, their skill, their sometimes death-defying moves or hits that they give or endure. But many also marvel at the big paychecks they earn, and it leads many to wonder, do they even deserve it? Granted, in recent years, the salaries of certain players were through the roof, and the NFL actually had to put a salary cap on rookie players who are making tens of millions before even playing a single minute of their sport. But make no mistake, these guys and ladies earn their money. Think about it. These sports brands get new players every single year. And so if certain people don't perform, they'll get traded or benched or straight up let go. The pressure to perform in every game and every minute possible is paramount. Plus, there's a little thing called injuries, which can be severe enough to end careers. Concussions especially can ruin more than their careers. It can even ruin their lives. Pay for athletes often depends on the sport, but even the lower tier players can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a season. Then if you get to a certain level, you can make millions or tens of millions, and yes, even hundreds of millions of dollars. And that doesn't even include endorsement deals. There is a reason many dream of being a professional athlete, and the pay is high on that list of reasons. Number 3, lawyer. Justice is blind. That's the motto that most associate with the justice system, and in court, the only thing that can stand in your way of a guilty verdict is a lawyer or attorney. But it's more than that. Lawyers help deal with numerous cases behind the scenes before they even go to court. Things like land disputes, contracts, wills, trademark and patent filings, infringements, etc. You may think you know what a lawyer does because of TV shows like Law & Order and Suits, but those are glamorized versions of what a lawyer does. Sure, some probably do what you see on TV, but not every day or even every month. Working the rules of the legal system is hard, like really hard. There are procedures and rules and guidelines, and documents that have to be filled out in a certain way and in a certain order, or else they'll be ruled ineligible or inadmissible. The stress is very real, but so is the pay. On average, lawyers can make around $100,000. But if you're good, and you get good clients, and you get on retainer, you can double or triple that. Just depends on how good of a lawyer you are. Number 2, Mount Everest guides. There are certain dreams in the world that most people share for one reason or another, and one of them is to stand on the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest. In a way, by literally standing on that peak, you're at the top of the world. However, as many people know, you can't just walk up the mountain. You need help. You need a guide. It seems like an easy thing to guide someone up the side of a mountain, but it's the exact opposite. You see, only 55% of people who attempt to climb Mount Everest actually make it up there. And given that 6,000 people have made it up there, that means that there's another 6,000 people that failed. And that was with guides most of the time. Make no mistake either, climbing in the frigid cold through heavy snow, fierce winds, and the risk of avalanche make climbing it difficult regardless of your experience level. Still, if you can brave it all, the potential for pay is massive. Granted, the pay itself is dependent on your skill and company alignment, but you can make hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars per trip, depending on the number of people climbing with you. Number 1, crab fisherman. There are many jobs that are difficult for various reasons, but one is known as the deadliest job in the world. I speak of being a fisherman in the Bering Sea, where numerous men and women have gone and perished while trying to obtain the deadliest catch. You've likely heard of the Discovery Channel show that has gone on for 14 incredible seasons, and each season seems to prove that the hunt for crab is without a doubt one of the most extreme jobs in the world. And there are numerous reasons, and each new reason adds another level of danger that everyone should know about before they get into it. Yet because of the profits, more and more people try to make it there. Right off the bat, the Bering Sea itself is notorious for having some of the worst weather in the world. One day it'll be calm and flat, and then the next day you'll be in 30-foot seas with waves crashing over you from all sides. Unless you catch your crab quickly, you'll have to stay out there longer, which puts you in even more danger. A recent Deadliest Catch special talked about an area in the Bering Sea where 200 ships had been sunk. 200! This area is known as the Bering Sea Triangle, and it's been a terror for fishermen to be in, and yet it's the best crab grounds, so they have to fish there. And it only gets worse in the winter months. When the apelio season is going on, fishermen have to fight freezing spray that can add 2,000 pounds of ice to the boat per minute. And there's the ice pack, a miles-long sheet of ice that descends onto the crab grounds. And if you're not careful, you'll get caught in it, and the ice will crush just about any boat. And as if that wasn't enough, because of the location of the Bering Sea in regards to Alaska, the only hope for rescue that fishermen have are either from other boats or the U.S. Coast Guard, both of which might be too far away to reach you in a good amount of time. But it is important to note that this is just the nature side of the equation. The reason crab fishing is a difficult job in view of the job itself is that the captain has to go and find the crab. They never stay in one spot, and if they miss with their early predictions on where to set their gear, it's a log to get everything back on the boat, go to a new spot, and then try it all over again. It's a marathon, and some days have crew members going 24-hour shifts in order to get things done. So why would anyone endure this? Simple. The pay is good depending on the boat you're on. Even on the lower tier crab boats, you can do a season in a month and make about $20,000 in just 1 month. For just one season. Some of the higher tier boats, for example, the Northwestern from Deadliest Catch, can make double or even triple that, sometimes depending on their quotas. To be clear, that's just as a crew member. If you're a crab captain, you can make $200,000 or more a year. Alright guys, that does it for this list. Thanks for watching! Do you think you could do any of these difficult jobs? Or maybe you do some of them already? How about you let me know in the comments below, especially if you do more than one? Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time.